Today we will deal with the introduction to veterinary pharmacology, which is an important subject to be discussed. And veterinary pharmacology is one of the important subjects that has to be discussed in view of knowing the various treatment methodologies to the cattle ailments. So coming to the history of this veterinary pharmacology is concerned, origin of this veterinary pharmacology today back to the early 1700s in Europe. Actually it's a very old and ancient science. So now about 300 years are over after the systematic and methodological knowledge of the veterinary pharmacology is concerned. And it's a study of the physical and chemical characteristic of the materials used as medicine, and it's also known as the materia medica. And materia medica is the study of physical and chemical properties of the materials that are used for the treatment of a disease, and it's also known as the materia medica. And scientists extracted and synthesized the drugs from plant components, especially also from the bacteria and from the various sources. And today most drugs are made synthetically in laboratories because it's very difficult to get the pure form of the drugs in bulk. Hence the synthetic, this is an era of the synthetic technology, and hence a lot of drugs are manufactured using the synthetic technologies in the laboratories. And coming to the understanding of some of the pharmacological terms, like pharmaco means a drug. Drug means DRUGUE. Drug is, it is a study of the drugs. Pharmacology is coming to the study of the drugs. And therapy means treatment of the diseases, or the treatment of the diseases with the drugs is known as the therapy. And pharmacotherapy is the treatment of the diseases with the pharmaceutical agents, or they are also known as the medicines. And kinetic is the scientific study of the motion of a particular drug, maybe in the body of a human being or the animal kind. And pharmacokinetics is the study of the drug motion, which includes absorption, distribution, metabolism and excretion of the drug, or simply what we can abbreviate this ADME, means how much quantity of the drug is absorbed into the system after the administration of the drug, maybe through any route. So many routes are there, starting from the oral route and parenteral routes. Parenteral route includes the intravenous, intramuscular, then subcutaneous, intradermal, and so many other routes are there. And then how much quantity of that material is distributed in the body, means whenever you have administered a drug inside the body, then it has to enter the systemic circulation, and after the pumping of the heart, it reaches the each and every corner of the body depending upon its chemical nature. Then how much quantity of the drug is there in the blood stream, that's also very important, because whenever we are observing the quantity of the drug to be active at the site, then the quantity of the drug in the blood matters a lot. And later the drug will be distributed to so many tissues, of course at the site of the action. And the drugs are acting through several mechanisms, including the inhibition of certain enzymes or modification of certain body systems, and hence it has to be distributed throughout the body. Suppose the drug, it need to be acted on central nervous system, then it has to enter the blood-brain barrier. Similarly, if the drug needs to act on the fetus, then it has to traverse through blood-placental barrier. Later, the drug cannot stay long in the body, and the liver or in the other tissue, it got detoxified, or it is known as the metabolism. And later, or in the final stage, they are excreted in the urine. Majority of the drugs are excreted in the urine, but few are also in search of some other route like the feces, saliva and many other routes of the excretion. And so many drug regulations are there and laws of this each country are there to regulate the maybe the manufacturing of the drug, its marketing, its prescription, etc. And the Food and Drug Administration (FDA) is one of the prime government agency to enforce the Federal Pure Drug and Drug Act of 1906. And until the late 1930s, the FDA had little power to determine and enforce the correct drug dosage information, but as on date, it is one of the strongest body which controls and governs the production of the drug, starting from its licensing, the new drug discovery, the patenting, the licensing and so many other procedures. The FDA is playing an important role. In 1938, Congress passed especially in the United States, the Congress passed the Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act. To be repeated again, Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act, it is also known as FDCA, which required that the drug be adequately tested to demonstrate its safety when used as its label directs. In 1972, FDCA was amended to include many more protections, means the law is always made to be changed. So the FDCA means Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act was formed in 1938 and it was amended timely to meet the requirement of the time-based limitations. And the FDA is headed by a commissioner and organized into a number of different centers. Yes, of course, the FDA is one of the Food and Drug Administration. If you see the administrative setup, it is headed by the commissioner and organized into number of different centers, of course, in the country as well as in other countries also. The FDA's Center for Veterinary Medicine or CVM, Center for Veterinary Medicine, ensures that the approved veterinary medicines will not harm the animal. That's why in the allopathic practice is the one which deals more with the toxicities rather than the effect. Means if the drug is acting, it's well and fine, but it should not cause any ill effect or the ill effects to a lesser extent. That's what it's the concerns of the FDA and or any other drug licensing agencies. In the 1972, an amendment was made to the FDCA that the drug manufacturers should specify the drug withdrawal periods and detection methods for determining the drug residues in animal foodstuff. And this residual problem is of a major concern nowadays because many of the animals are intended for the food practices. That's why they are known as the food animals. The cattle, sheep, goat, pig and poultry and many of the animals are intended for the human consumption in the form of the meat, milk or egg, especially in the case of cows, it's milk, and the other animals are meant for the meat purpose so that it enters the human body. Whenever it is entering the human body, it should contain the quantity of the drug as less as possible, which should not cause any deleterious effect. That's known as the residual effect of a drug. And as and when you become a veterinary doctor, then you are going to prescribe the drug. Means it is the official recommendation of a drug to the animal to be purchased by the owner of that particular animal is concerned. Prescription drugs are regulated by Food and Drug Administration and are limited to use under supervision of a veterinarian or physician, and he should be qualified under the law. And because of their potential danger, some of the drugs have got lot of danger and sometimes they have got toxicity concerns and administration difficulty or other consideration. So whenever a doctor is prescribing a drug, then he should keep all this in his mind, that the drug should not have much danger or the toxicity, and it should be easily administrable to the animals, and also many other concerns like how much quantity it may be absorbed into the rumen, and what are all the effects and side effects of that particular drug in case of the animals are concerned. And prescription of the drugs are made to the animals once the veterinarian or client or patient relationship has been established. So whenever an animal arrives to your clinic or for the treatment, then there should be an establishment of the relationship between the owner, who is your client of course, and the animal and yourself as a doctor. So it's in other words called as a tripartite agreement. Means three parties are there with an agreement so that it is the well-being of the animal, and the veterinarian, client and patient. So here client is the owner of that particular animal, and these relationships arise when an animal is seen and examined by a veterinarian. First he has to examine the animal, who assumes the responsibility for making clinical assessments based on sufficient knowledge about the animal's health. So that's the prime duty of a veterinarian, that he should examine the animal whenever it arrives to the table of examination, which is also suffering from some of the disorders, and later he has to make a lot of clinical assessments based on his skill and knowledge or whatever he has learnt under his degree program, and ultimately this has to improve the animal's health. Then we will see what are extra label drugs. So extra label drugs are the drugs used in a manner that is not specifically prescribed by the FDA approval. Means these are the drugs which are purchased by the owner himself or herself for the use of the animal without the prescription of a qualified doctor, and may include use of a drug for an animal when the drug is only approved in case of the humans. Then may include use of the drug for a treatment that is not listed on the FDA approval drug label also. Here the intended drug what a doctor is going to prescribe is the one which is not listed under the approved drugs to be used for the veterinary practice. So these drugs are known as the extra label drugs. So whether this extra label drug use is allowed under the law? Yes, surely it is allowed under the law of the Animal Medicine Drug Use Clarification Act in 1994, especially in the United States, and AMDUCA, that's known as Animal Medicinal Drug Use Clarification Act of the 1994. And the key constraints of AMDUCA are that any extra label use must be or by on the order of a veterinarian within the context of veterinarian client and patient relationship, and the use cannot result in drug residues in food producing animal. That's the one of the important criteria here. The thing is, so the extra label drug should also be allowed under certain acts of each country. Suppose in India, the drugs need to be prescribed for extra label use need to be approved by the Drug Controller General of the India. So once again it's the discretion of the veterinarian to write a drug other than which is labeled, then it's known as the extra label use. So it should be the understanding between the veterinarian, the client and the patient, and it also goes on the patient to prescribe such drug, and the veterinarian should be very careful that such drugs which in which the research has not been done about its bioavailability etc. Of course it may be proved in case of the human practice, but it is not the research is not done in case of veterinary practice. Hence such drugs should be very cautiously prescribed by the qualified veterinarian. And the next term comes the over-the-counter drugs, or over-the-counter drugs means the OTC is the short form of these drugs that do not have a significant potential for toxicity or do not require special administration. So over-the-counter drugs are the one which can be sold by the pharmaceutical chemist without the prescription of the qualified veterinarian. And many times these drugs do not have the much or significant side effects or toxicity, or they do not require the special route of the administration, just like IV or IM or anything which requires the intervention of a skilled person like a nurse or a doctor. So such drugs which can be easily purchased by the cattle owner to his animal over the counter, that's known as the over the counter treatments. So the best example of this over the counter medicine is the aspirin, or it's also known as acetyl salicylic acid aspirin. It is antipyretic in nature, to some extent analgesic and anti-inflammatory also. So these drugs, this aspirin and other thing, you can directly go to the counter and get it purchased. So that's why it is known as over the counter drug. Controlled substances are the one considered as dangerous because of their potential for human abuse or misuse. That's why they are known as the controlled substances. They are having more dangerous property than the regular drugs, and hence these are kept under the control environment, and these controlled substances are regulated by the Drug Enforcement Agency, or DEA, through the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act of the 1970. So these drugs, a veterinarian, if you want to keep these drugs, he has to obtain the license or permission from the Drug Enforcement Agency to use such certain drugs. And controlled substances are labeled at the multiple schedule level, and we can see this in the future tables. And controlled substances monitoring is one of the important technique that veterinarians who use or prescribe control substances must register actually with DEA, keep the DEA informed of all address changes, and receive a registration number to be used on prescriptions and supply orders. Just like the Karnataka Veterinary Association actually registers the veterinarians for the practice. Then the veterinarian is called as the registered veterinary practitioner. So to use these controlled drugs also, the veterinarian should get registered under DEA and keep the Drug Enforcement Agency informed for all address changes and receive a registration number. This is because the drug should not be misused by an unauthorized or unaddressed persons. And controlled substances must be stored in a locked cabinet, or they have to kept as a very safe place. And these drugs, controlled drugs, should be handled by authorized persons or licensed persons, and they must keep the records of the orders. When the drug has arrived, how much quantity is arrived, then the receipts, how much quantity is received, and users to which patients these drugs are used, and how much quantity of the drugs are discarded. For example, whenever you are using the thiopental sodium, one of the narcotic drug, then how much quantity is remaining? Suppose the dose required is 300 milligram per kg to a dog, not per kg, 300 milligram total dose to a dog. Then suppose out of this 500 milligram, 200 milligram is remaining. Then whether it is discarded or reused, and any theft has happened of controlled substances for the 2 years following each transaction. Suppose today you have procured that particular drug till 2 years, until the end of that particular drug in a disposable manner. That's the fate of this particular drug. And controlled substances use are usually recorded in a controlled substances logbook. So one has to maintain the separate book for this particular medicines are concerned. So it's a special logbook. That's about the introduction to the veterinary this veterinary pharmacology is concerned, and in the future classes we will have much more detailed discussions. And thank you very much for patient hearing.